Percent change is kind of fun, and well, because it's kind of easy. It's really straightforward. So percent change is simply the difference of the new and old value divided by the original amount. And that will give you a decimal, and then whatever that decimal is, to turn it into a percent, we know that any decimal to turn into a percent, we multiply by 100. And then you need to say whether it's an increase or a decrease. And that's simply looking at the numbers and seeing did they go up or did they go down. Now those of you who like the proportions, you can act, and this is just the way that I usually do it, but with the proportions you can actually do difference over original equals the percent over 100. So, and then you wouldn't have to multiply by the 100 because you've already multiplied by the 100 here. So let's do a couple of problems. So they simply give us an original amount and a new amount, and we want to find the percent change. So on this one, we want to find the difference. And the difference between 28 and 32 is 4. So 4 over the original, which is 28, equals 0.14287, and then it repeats from there. So if we multiply now by 100, and I think your directions have you round to the nearest percent, that would give us 14.2%, so we just round it to 14%. And that has gone from a lower number to a higher number, so that is an increase. Now, the question is, and this is why I put it on here, the original amount is 32 and the new amount is 28. What do you think? Is it simply a 14% decrease? Well, let's try it. Let's see if it is. Because I mean, it's the same difference, right? So 4 over, well, what's the original amount now? 32. So what do you think? Is it going to be the same amount decrease as it was an increase since we're using the same numbers? And this one I'm going to go ahead and do as a proportion, just to show you that it works the same way, except for instead of multiplying by 100 here, I'm going to multiply by 100 here. So 400 equals 32p. And I don't know why I chose p, I guess for percent. You could have put anything there, x, it wouldn't have mattered. And now we isolate p by dividing both sides by 32. So when I divide 400 by 32, I get 12.5%. Now remember, I don't have to multiply it by 100 because I already multiplied by 100. And that's the amount of decrease. Again, I can see that I go from a bigger number to a smaller number, so that's a decrease. And we can see that just simply using the same numbers in reverse doesn't work, but it's because the denominator has, or the original amount has changed, and 4 being a part of 28 is different than 4 being a part of 32. And that's really all there is to percent increase and decrease. I mean, if you put dollar signs in front of them, it doesn't really change. But we are going to try something else. Jack buys a baseball card for $16. 1 year later, its value increases 15%. What is the value of the card now? So this time, they've given us an original amount. But this time they gave us the percent. So here it's definitely going to be easier to use the proportion. So this time though, I don't know the value of the card now. So that's the difference. So I don't know the difference. But I do know the original amount, that's $16, and I do know the percent change. and that is 15 over 100. And now when I cross multiply, and I'm just going to use the D, so 100D equals 16 times 15, 240. And then of course divide both sides by 100. And the difference is 2.4, or in this case, since we're talking about money, $2.40. So what do I do with that $2.40? Does that mean that's the value of the card now? Hopefully quickly you see that's not quite true. That it's an increase. So I need to increase $16 by $2.40. So that means the card is now worth $18.40. Let's try a decrease. So let's say that a $25,000 car loses 10% of its value as soon as it's driven off the car lot. So again, we have an original amount, and we have a decrease percent. We just don't know the difference. So again, the difference over the original, which is 25,000, equals the percent decrease, which is 10 over 100. Cross multiply, 100D equals 250,000, and then divide both sides by 100, and the difference is $2,500. Now again, that's not the value now, that's the difference. So to find its value now, and it didn't ask the question, but if it wanted to know the difference, this is your answer, but probably it wants to know what's its value as soon as it's driven off the car lot. Well, 25,000 minus 2,500, which is $22,500. And that's percent change. Now sometimes they can be a little bit tricky, and they can word it like this. The basketball team scored 62 points in their first game. They scored 15 more points in their second game than in their first. What is the percent change? If you're just a number plugger, sometimes you go, oh, there's 16 and there's 15, I'll find the difference, I'll put that over the original. But you have to notice that this time they actually gave you the difference. So, difference over original is going to be 15. You don't have to subtract. They gave you the difference. They scored 15 more points this time. The original is 62. If you like the proportion, we're looking for the part out of, or the percent out of 100. So cross multiply, 1500 equals 62p. And then divide both sides by, I want to make that one better, 62. And that is 24.91, but I think your homework tells you to round to the nearest percent. So 24%, and that is an increase because they said more. And since we already multiplied by the 100 right here, we don't have to multiply by 100.